All right, so the next type of proof that we're going to learn about involves first proving triangles are congruent and then making a statement about the parts of the triangles that are congruent. Right, so the statement here, once we prove triangles are congruent, we know that their corresponding parts, which would be sides and angles. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. Are also going to be congruent. All right. So a little bit of a typo here. If you're asked to prove angles meh, or sides meh, you must do the following. Well, it's really, you should say congruent. Prove the triangle congruent. State corresponding parts are congruent. By what we call CPCTC. All right, so that goes back to the title, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, we could use the abbreviation CPCTC. For some reason in high school, they kind of lose their mind, the Regents people, if they write CPCTC instead of writing out the entire sentence, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Their thinking is that the students don't really know what they're writing if they only use the abbreviation. My thinking is if they know when to use the abbreviation, they probably know what it means. So a little philosophical difference there, but this isn't a Regents course, so we'll do it any way I want to do it. And fortunately for you, my way is the easier way. So O is the midpoint of AT. Okay, so O is the midpoint of AT, so two corresponding congruent sides. A given piece of information there. We also know that A and T are congruent. So a little bit more straightforward than the last one on the previous page. So you don't have to, I call it mental crying. That feeling you get when you're straining your brain to understand a concept that's delivered by someone else. And it's so frustrating to the point that you feel like a high-pitched squeal going on inside of your brain. And you do feel the urge and the need to start crying, but it never actually happens. Every now and then you'll break into a little bit of a sweat, but you end up being filled with just raw hatred for the person delivering the information. Right? The problem on the last page may have evoked that sort of feeling out of you. This one should not. This one should be kind of like the oasis in the desert. This should make you feel a little bit better. All right, so with the promise that they won't all be like the last question on the last page. It'll be more like this one. All right, so M and H. Oh, and so that could be like a little bonus opportunity for this video. Little Easter egg. So if anybody messages me with just a quick yes or no on whether or not in the last video, if they experienced mental crying, just say, I experienced mental crying on page 7. Just send me a message on Remind. I'll give you 1 bonus point. I drop little Easter eggs to see if you're really honestly, all I just want to see if people are watching my videos. So if you're watching them, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, then this doesn't make sense to you, or You know, you'd be like, I don't know what problem you're referring to. And so maybe you don't get the bonus. We'll see. I don't know. It's a half-baked idea, I think. So anyway, we can immediately state that the two triangles are congruent. Triangle MAO and triangle HTO. All right, couple of angles with one non-included side. So this would be the AAS axiom. Now here it's just asking me to state that OM and OH are congruent to one another. So that's nice because once you've proved that the two triangles are congruent to one another, all of their corresponding parts must now be congruent also. So all the remaining sides and all the remaining angles. So, and the justification is simple. We just say that corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. You know, in my mind, I often refer to it as the duh rule. You know, once you prove that triangles are the same as one another, then my justification for OM being congruent to OH would be, duh, the triangles are the same. That's why they're congruent. I just proved that. So CPCTC is really just kind of speaking to that. So short video for this page, so that's nice, especially after the 20-minute one for the last one. So there it is.